I think people are worried about oversaturation, that they're going to take their jobs pretty much, or you know, teach somebody to be better than they are or whatnot. But like that just, I mean, I'm always back to the fact that like this wants me to be better. Like if you're going to try to be good as I am, I'm just going to be better than you are. Like I'm going to try to push myself farther and farther and farther. And that's what I just want to do. And that's what drives me crazy all the time.
When I think of tattoo artists who have a very specific, distinct style and who are operating at the top tier 1% of tattoo artists out there, Squire Strahan has absolutely been one of the most inspirational tattooers for my career, being that I did focus a lot on illustrative fine line black work. His color work is also equally as impressive. And I had a great opportunity to get to chat with him. We met a couple years, our paths crossed at the Explorer Expo, and then again at a convention, and we've just kind of always been friendly, chatting here and there. But he invited me to come speak at the sessions.edu expo. So if any tattooers out there are interested in coming to see me speak live on finances and how you can improve your overall situation for the future, I will be doing a talk there coming up in February. There is a promo code as well to knock $50 off for anyone who wants to save a little bit of money. But I would love to see you there, and hearing Squire talk about not only what he's going to be talking about, but the other presenters. It just feels like an incredible opportunity for any tattoo artist to level up, invest in themselves, and grow and learn from other tattooers who have been there, done that. And I'm super excited to share this conversation with you with Squire Strahan. Squire, thank you for coming on the Artful Dollar Podcast. It's an honor, a pleasure to have you.
It was an honor to meet you or see you again.
Yeah, we met a while ago. We met like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
in Indiana.
Yeah, that's the last time I saw you, probably. Yeah,
probably in person. Yeah. At the no, because I saw you at that other convention at
Literary Inc.
Literary Inc.
Yeah. You dressed like a wizard.
I dressed like a wizard, and I bought your sweet fucking merch.
Oh, thanks.
You have a very good mind for like packaging and merch. Like you packaged it in that VHS tape. I thought that was very clever. I
just like this. I want somebody to get something and be like, "Holy shit, this is fucking awesome!" And like, then keep opening up, like, "Oh my god, there's more stuff!" And I just like giving stuff to people, and I was like, I don't know, it's fun.
It's that wow factor that in any business, tattooing or anything, you know, like how do I ramp up the wow factor? And so I feel like you kind of have a knack for that. Yeah. A question that when I was, any convention I go to or anywhere I go and I'm talking to tattooers with a lot of experience and a successful career like yourself, I always like to ask, you know, if you had a billboard and that billboard could just say one thing, one message to help other tattooers, what would your message be?
Oh man, that's hard. I don't know. I think one billboard to say something was like, "It's going to be okay." Like, I think just take your time and just reevaluate what's going on and like just start, and like I feel like it's just going to be okay. Like definitely take the extra step to invest in yourself and kind of like just keep moving forward. Pretty much, like you can't stay stagnant about something. You gotta like keep just pushing, cause I feel like stagnation is going to kill yourself pretty much. So
yeah, stagnation.
Not kill yourself, but kill your career.
Yeah, I feel like mediocrity is like the career killer.
Yeah.
You know, when I first started tattooing, I was like, I do not want to be a mediocre. The worst thing I could imagine being was a mediocre tattooer. It was either like, I'm not going to tattoo at all, or I'm going to push myself to be as exceptional as I can be. But just for me personally, it was like, that was not an option.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I first started tattooing, it was more like, you know, walk-in street shop kind of thing. And I didn't even think about like what my career could have been or could be. It was just like, it was work. So, I mean, like I came from working all the time. Like, I mean, I had multiple jobs for tattooing. I started tattooing when I was 20. So like, it was just come to work, draw. And then I started being like, well, I can apply this and like take this more and further and further. And when I started doing it, I realized stuff that could come. I just kept pushing myself, and then, you know, started doing conventions and doing that as well. And then I was like, how can I stand out here more? And that's what got me in the merch and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now I can bring like, not just target tattooers, or not target like clients, I can target tattooers. I sell my stuff to here and there. And like, it's fun. I mean, like I'm always
curious, what did you do before tattooing?
Before tattooing, I worked at a box factory. The same thing. It was a union job, and I just worked from 11 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and folded boxes. It was pretty stagnant. It was crazy, and
not taking advantage of your natural talents or
I mean, I always drew like at my house and like kind of messed around with it and stuff, and then then I got into tattooing and kind of like I got tattooed and I was like, this is cool. And then I kind of like searched out how I can do this and bought some stuff in the back of a magazine pretty much and got delivered to my house, tattooed friends, and kind of fucked people up.
So are you mostly self-taught in the beginning?
Yeah. I was self-taught for the first probably year and a half. And then when I finally somewhat got a job into a studio, met a few people that knew a little more than I did, and then got into another studio and just kind of kept like building upon that. I can't say that I'm like, I owe all this to being self-taught, but like
of course, I'm also mostly self-taught. I actually I was a body piercer before I was a tattoo artist, and I'd watch people. I learn through osmosis, but eventually I just had to buy my own gear and do my own thing. It's interesting.
I bought the professional kit because I wanted to be a professional. So
I'm from New York, so we have. I don't know. You ever spend time in New York City?
Yeah, I've been to a couple of supply studios up there.
Have you been to Unimax?
Unimax, yeah.
So that was where I lived.
That's awesome.
I was there 3 times a week practically,
isn't it? Like downtown Chinatown.
Yeah, Chinatown, up those steps. Boom, boom,
boom. The
boom.
first time I went there, I guest spotted at Eight of Swords, and Betty Rose is the one that got me up there, and she's like, "We got to go to Unimax," and I was just like, "It's like something you always hear about, and like you order from, you never go, and then you go, and you're like, this is amazing."
Yeah, Unimax was a wild place, but that was where I went, and it's interesting. So I recently did an episode on the topic of self-taught tattoo artists, and it's a very controversial topic. I'm curious, really do you have any thoughts or opinions or politics on it? And if you don't want to touch it, don't worry. If you want,
I don't think I've been having opinions on it. I mean, like if you're going to do something, you're going to do it. And like if somebody for me, if somebody tells me no, it makes me want to do it even more. So like I can.
I'd say that's probably true about most tattoo artists.
So like if I go to a studio like trying to learn how to tattoo and they're like, I'm not taking apprentices, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Like I'm gonna be like, I'm not just gonna give up. I'm gonna try it. And I feel like I had very helpful people in my life when I started tattooing. That kind of took me under my wing and kind of taught me a little bit, and that kind of pushed me forward to actually get into a shop. But like I think it's different. Like if you're like, I'm a tattoo at my house only, this is what I do. Like if you're not progressing to like be where you want to be, then
your goal should get to the point where you are at least working around other tattoo artists with more experience with you. 100%.
I feel like it doesn't. I don't care how you got where you are. But this how your values are going forward, pretty much, if that makes sense.
I think that's all that really should matter.
I mean, like
people are they have so much opinion about someone buying their own gear and teaching themselves. Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I mean, honestly, I don't know, because it's hard for me to put me in that headspace to think about that, because I was there as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I'm actually running a poll right now on Instagram. No, I'm not even kidding. I posted this morning because I was curious, like what percentage. And so right now at this moment, it seems like there's like almost 50 people that answered the poll. So it was like, did you have a great apprentice? How did you get into tattooing was the question. Yeah. So did you have a great apprenticeship? Did you have a shit apprenticeship? Did you go to tattoo school, or are you mostly self-taught?
Yeah.
And over 60% of people, so you say 65% of people either had a crappy apprenticeship, went to tattoo school, or were self-taught.
Okay. Wow.
Because 34% of so far had a great apprenticeship. It's just interesting. And I would wager, given how many tattoo artists there are and how many quality apprenticeships are available, you do the math, it's like most tattoo artists didn't have a great apprenticeship.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had shops that I worked at that we apprenticed people, and it was just a hangout pretty much. And it was just like people used them just to work, or to do shop work and stuff like that. When we opened our shop up, we had a few apprentices, and we try to teach them as well as we can and push them forward and actually do something. And I don't know, it's weird. It's a touchy subject for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a hard question.
I think it's all ego at the end of the day. Like, why is it a touchy subject,
I think people are like worried about oversaturation, that they're going to take their jobs pretty much, or you know, teach somebody to be better than they are or whatnot. But like that just, I mean, I'm always back to the fact that like this wants me to be better. Like if you're going to try to be good as I am, I'm just going to be better than you are. Like I'm going to try to push myself farther and farther and farther. And that's what I just want to do. And that's what drives me crazy all the time.
Yeah. I have been a massive fan of your work long before we met.
Thanks.
Because I very much so did.
Mirrors, so.
I'll smoke and mirrors. It's all filters. It's all just Instagram filters. I also did a black work, illustrative work. I know you do a lot of color as well, but I just always looked up to your work, and I was like, wow, appreciate it really. There is something I don't even know how to put into words, and you probably don't even know how to put into words. Like, there's something. There's something magical about your work. When I look at it, when I'm looking at like the world of tattooing and what's out there, I feel like if I could pinpoint what it is, I feel like it's your bold use of shadow and light source.
It's high contrast stuff, probably.
It's high contrast, but there's also a clever subtlety to it.
All right. Sweet.
I don't know. Did you ever decide like, oh, I'm going to focus on shadow and light source and contrast?
I did focus on that. I don't know how I got into it, but I was just like, how can I make this more dramatic and take an image that's like a flower or like floral stuff, and like how can I make that just look super dramatic? And I think I was like, this added heavy contrast and dark shadows and stuff would definitely do it. I mean, I wish I can pinpoint a little more, because I feel like if I can to know what I'm doing, I can kind of evolve it more. But
sure. How long have you been tattooing total at this point?
I started in 2001, so 24 years. Well,
24 years
and a half. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we started tattooing at home, and maybe what's a little bit of the progression, would you say, if you give me the short and sweet version of it?
Yeah, started at home. You know, like I said, I got tattooed when I was like 18 or so, 19.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, I want to start doing this. I want to try this out. And same thing, I got a kit. I got it home, and then I started kind of like wanting to be better and better. So I started getting tattooed more, and like, what kind of stuff do I need? And, you know, they're like, you need to get, at the time, that's when Aaron Kane started building machines, and Aaron Kane was like the best machine builder it was. And, you know, it probably still is.
I have two Aaron Kane machines, and
I don't have any more.
They're the best coil machines I ever touched. Yeah.
I look back at work that I'd done. Like, I mean, my wife has early work for me as well. And like machines that I used then and stuff I use now, I'm just like, man, like I don't know why it's different. Like, I feel like it's just weird. But yeah, so then, you know, Aaron was just selling machines out of his, not out of his house, but like he selling machines on a like build to buy basis. So I wrote him like a letter and asked him for 2 machines, like delivered to my house, send him a money order. And surprised enough, I got 2 machines in my house. And, you know, I was like, hell yeah, I'm a pro now. I did the tattoo until he fucked it up, and still like, I don't know what I'm doing. So, and then I started.
Any memorable mishaps?
Oh man, I just remember tattooing and like lining this huge like travel back piece. It was like a heart with like wings coming off the side of it.
Sick.
And like all I had was my kit, so it was like a 3-liner and a 5-round liner. And I just remember lining it with a 3 and like shade the whole thing with a 5-round, like 5-round. And I just remember like, I can't do this. This is crazy. And like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that was just like hard. But going from there, you know, I was kind of like, I need to get into a shop. I need to start doing better, and want to do it. And I looked for a shop, and there was a shop local that I got into that kind of pushed me up. I met another tattooer that tattooed out of his house, that we both started working in the shop together, which he currently works with me right now. His name's Kevin Dickinson. Wow. So it's just funny that, you know, he worked with me then, moved away, he's an awesome tattooer, and came back to Tampa, and now we're all working together again. So it's fun. We still share the same stories you had back then.
Yeah.
But like that, and this progressed to like each shop, and this kind of got better, started being around other people. And I really don't think that my career took the way I wanted it to until I started traveling and guest spotting at different shops.
Okay.
And I think that's what pushed me forward to be, because like you get comfortable, you get around the same people, you start tattooing, like you're not really too like worried about like how your tattoo is going to look, like even though it's going to look good, but you're not pushing yourself in front of people. I feel like when you start guest spotting in front of people, you're like, shit, I got to do my best, and like it starts making your brain work differently, and you start approaching stuff different. And I think that constant uncomfortableness is what.
How often were you doing guest spots?
I was doing like when I got on the guest spot kick, like I was doing like one every month. And
Wow. For how long?
Probably for 3 years. Yeah.
Damn.
And then at that point, I was guest spotting like a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there, or a couple days here, and going back and forth to different states. And then I was like, I was just tired of like, I want to keep pushing myself. I want to keep going. I was like, but I can't be away from my family like that as much as I want to. And that's when we decided to pack our stuff up and live in a trailer.
How old are your kids?
My kids now are 20 and 17.
Okay, so you were 4 years into tattooing when you had your first kid.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a challenge because tattooing just takes so much. And then if you're traveling and having kids. I didn't start traveling until probably when my kids are probably about like between 10 and 13. So like, okay.
it was a long amount of time. Like I did at conventions and stuff, but not just like travel guest spots. So
I think it's really good to hear for anyone listening too, like a decade into your career, more than a decade in, you then started growing massively due to guest spots.
Yeah, I really think that's like one of the pinnacle of my careers is doing that, just being like put myself in uncomfortable situations to be like, oh my God, I got to do the best I can.
Maybe that's what the billboard says, like put yourself in uncomfortable situations, but it's going to be okay.
Yep, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. So apparently 88% of listeners have not left a review or subscribed. And I'm going to get right back to the podcast in just a second. But if you have found this episode helpful and you think that other people would benefit from listening, then all I ask in return is please just leave a quick review and subscribe. It'll take just 1 minute and it might help other tattooers and other artists find this podcast and help them out. So please, it would mean the world to me and it might actually make a difference for someone else. Thanks. Yeah, I'm a big, I don't know if you follow Alex Ramosi, but I'm a big Alex Ramosi fan. He's like a business guy. He's almost like a business philosopher. Like he's brilliant guy. But he did a post on Threads the other day that was like, entrepreneurs think the same two thoughts. Either it's going to suck or it's going to be okay. And then you go to sleep and you wake up and you do it over again.
Yeah, that's pretty much, that's my life.
How do you deal with it when things suck or when things like aren't looking up or like things are stressed out? You're dealing with some obstacle. Like do you have any?
Like non-business wise is like I just get out and start doing stuff. Like I bike ride a lot, so like I go out and collect my thoughts, take some time by myself and kind of like think about how I can approach that situation and how I can change it to make it better than it is, pretty much. I handle stress pretty well. I feel like I'm addicted to stress because I feel like I put myself in situations that like makes me stressed out all the time.
Dude, what the fuck is up with that? I do this. I was literally doing it the other day. I was like, why the fuck do I put myself in these positions over and over again?
Yeah. And then you look
and
back,
I know it's going to stress me out ahead of time. Yeah. I'm not wondering if it's going to stress me out, I did an art show at that reminds me of it because I did an art show at Eight of Swords in Williamsburg, and that's like I feel like that's another part of like my career path. Like I can look back at like stepping stones and like where like my career path took the next step, and I feel like that was one of the first ones because it put me in the comfortable. I was like, I'll do an art show, and I started approaching like I didn't want to do tattoo art. I want to do something just a little different. So I did like more like just weird abstract like futuristic 80s stuff, like all watercolor, and it was fun. But like at the same time, we planned it for 6 months, and I was like, all right, I got 6 months. The show was called 11, so it was between me and my friend Drew Linden, and she was going to do 5, I was going to do 5, and we did one together. So nice.
I was like, I got 6 months, I could do one painting a month. I was like, all right, I got 4 months, I got 3 months, I got 2 months. I was like, I gotta do this art show in a month. I painted 5 paintings or 4 paintings in a month. That was one a week, and I was on the plane, I was in the airport painting. I was on like, it was just like. And I look back at it and being like, I probably wouldn't have it any other way because it just it made my brain just like get rid of all the self-doubt I had. Because like I feel like I ponder on stuff, I start self-doubting it, and I want to change it, and I want to change it, I want to change it.
They say that's, and I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but they say that is a trait of ADHD. Okay. I don't know if you ever got.
No.
There's a lot of new stuff coming out on ADHD. That's like it's not the diagnoses that we say. It's like a broad spectrum.
Okay.
And honestly, I think it is a superpower, because when and it sounds like, similar thing, when I have that time frame, that crunch,
Yeah.
I hyper focus. I lose all self-doubt. It's like my brain can just focus in on specifically what needs to get done, and I do it.
That's what I feel like it is, because like I said, I started second guessing myself. I'm like, well, maybe I should have done this, and then you start doing that, and then you kind of get deterred from the subject that you're doing, and then you start doing that, and you start running out of time. But I feel like it's like, nope, I got to do this, and it's just like straight to the point, and like, yeah. So
how are you in general with time management?
I'm pretty, I would say mediocre, not mediocre, medium.
Medium.
Yeah.
Medium. Yeah. Were you always that way, or has it been something? I feel like time management is just probably one of the biggest areas that anyone, artist, entrepreneur, whoever, if you improve that area, it improves all other areas of your life.
Yeah. I'm working on it. I try to write every morning and break down my week through a schedule, and like just working on appointments, like tattooing, because I tattoo full time. So like I work.
How many days a week are you tattooing right now?
I tattoo 4 days a week, and usually I do 1 tattoo a day. But like if it's like continued work, I'll do like 2 a day. Kind of like,
What's your? I'm curious, like your design process. Do you have a day where you draw? And
I draw in the morning. I draw in the morning.
You draw in the morning. Okay. Do you,
I'll brainstorm if I'm something I'm not like super comfortable with, that I know is going to take me a little more time to draw. I start researching that night and kind of get a good game plan. But I work at night on other things that gives me time to do that, and then in the mornings I finish off about 7:30, and I'll draw. My first appointment is usually about 11 or so. If I'm drawing, if I'm working on a new, like something new that I'm starting, I gotta draw. Right. I draw from the morning and start around 11. But if I'm working on a continuation, usually I start tattooing around 9.
Sure. I feel like in my opinion, the best tattoo schedule is 4 days a week of tattooing, 1 to 2 a day. And then I had one day that I just focused on sketches. So it would just be like loose composition. I would get it to that point where like I basically know what it's supposed to be, but it would look ugly as hell.
Yeah, they kind of
redefine it. And then that morning, I can, like I said, I have 2 hours or an hour and a half to finish this drawing. Like I can bang it out.
That's awesome.
Was that pressure really helped me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this goes back to like just putting yourself in a situation that's like time management, that you have to like laser focused, and it's like if I do it in the mornings, I get less time to think about stuff but it's like I don't know, it is a two-edged sword, because you start doing stuff in the mornings like that, and then you're like you start getting ideas, you're like, oh, I can do this, but then you realize you don't have time for it, so it kind of kills your like not creativity, but like kind of the exploration of how you can make your design a little bit more. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a better. I got too many projects in the works of stuff in general, like that's not tattooing, that I need to get out of that so I can start focusing on other stuff. I don't know, man. I got tons of stuff I want to do.
Well, what are these other? You've been tattooing for 24 years. Do you see yourself tattooing for another 10 to 24 years?
I would say another 10 years, maybe. Like 5 to 10 years, probably. Yeah.
And so are these other projects you're working on, are they kind of like thinking about like what the future looks like? And
a little bit. I still like the merch stuff. I want to have a line of stuff that I want to focus more on that. Me and my wife have a business. It's more her business, but we do it together. The laser jewelry and all that stuff as well. So,
like laser cut jewelry?
Yeah, laser cut jewelry. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
She does like laser cut paper art and all that stuff. So
very cool.
We do some collaborations of designs and earrings together and stuff.
And your shop, when did you open up your tattoo shop?
Our first shop was called Trilogy, and we opened that probably about 15 years ago. And then we closed that one down, and we opened a new shop up called Heart. We just kind of split owners, and kind of some of us went one way, some went the other way. And we opened that one. It's called Heart, and that's been open for 5 years.
Okay. And so any other businesses? And then there's Sessions, which we were talking about. Sessions CDU.
Yeah, Sessions, the newest thing. We started that last year, kind of like a continued education, kind of like helping tattooers like in the same predicament that I was in. This like, how can I approach my work differently and push my career further, kind of thing, and kind of like getting people that have different subject matters we can bring in and kind of talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of like seminars.
Right. So, and I feel like that has been pretty overall new in the world of tattooing. I mean, I don't know when like the first Explorer Expo was. Do you know when that was?
I think it was 2016 or 17. It could be 18.
Okay, so almost 10 years ago, but in the past 10 years, that was like a new phenomenon, kind of. Yeah.
Honestly, I went to the first Explorer and it was amazing, and I think that's what's really like made my brain start thinking differently, is just like seeing people approach the work that you kind of know, like I want to do that, and then seeing they do it and you're like, all right, I got to do that. And just people approaching situations that you never think how to do it, like even though
totally,
like even though if you're not tattooing like that person, or even if you don't approach your work like that presenter, you can take stuff from there and apply it to your own work. Because even I want to take everything and apply different things to stuff. So
at the Explorer Expo that we met at 2 years ago, I had Dan Pemble like tore apart one of my tattoos. I don't know if you but it was so much fun
Dan's
to
fucking
watch
amazing.
him tear it apart. And he wasn't mean or anything. He was just like, it was funny because we were talking in the morning, we were having breakfast, and he was like, yeah, I got a couple submissions. And he's like, they're fine tattoos, but he couldn't find like what's that edge that's gonna completely. They were fine. And I was like, if you want to take a look through my portfolio, you can. He looked through a couple pieces and he was like, no, let's. At first he was like, these are great too, and he's like, no, let's do this one. And it was like a gnarly, like pus heady kind of skull with the jaw like falling off and a bat wing. And
you submitted that. I think they did that on screen, didn't they?
They did put it right up on the screen in front of 150.
I was like, that's a fucking that's an awesome tattoo. Like,
thank you. Yeah, I was like, it was one of my favorite tattoos that I'd done. But then he drew on it and just he took it to this other level. He deepened. I think going heavy with the black. It's always about the fucking black. It's like,
it
more
is.
black, it's always, and that was like the big takeaway. I was like, man, I could have been way more aggressive with the darkest parts, and that would have just made everything, a lot more alive, and that contrast. I
feel like you don't, I mean, that's what these events are for. Like, that's why I wanted to start sessions with Tony, is because of this kind of stuff. I was just like, it's those little like interactions, those little communications that like it all comes together, and you're just like, oh, that's what it is. And I feel like it's just like our event or events like that just foster that type of community that does that. Like, everybody's there to help each other, and I think that's the biggest thing, really. There's no judgment, like because like you do, like even when you go to conventions and stuff, you have like you're just feel intimidated, even though
totally.
Yeah.
You feel intimidated when you go to a convention?
I still feel intimidated, man, because I never know, like, if, I see stuff, I'm like, I feel great, and then I go there and I'm like, fuck, I suck. I'm like, and it's just, it's hard. It's a constant struggle with myself, and that's why like I said, like, it makes me want to keep pushing forward. And it's that uncomfortableness that makes me want to do, and that's why I said, like, I got into the merch stuff and all this, because I wanted to, like, just keep pushing stuff out and keep being like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And but going back to the sessions things, and
when you think about sessions, do you, there's there's Eden, there's Explorer, there's sessions. Do you think about like, what can we do differently than others to stand out?
I try to take my merch game is nice, like, stuff, and kind of apply it to that. I like branding things, so I wanted to like make an experience. I want people to take stuff home and like have physical goods on that, and also I want to have presenters that kind of like know what they're presenting on, and like have a different topic of each one. They all do that though. All the places.
Is there any artists that you're really excited about? When is the one that's coming up? It's coming up in February, yeah?
February 23rd, 24th, yeah. And
February 23rd, 24th. If you haven't checked it out, definitely, we'll put links and stuff in the description. But any artists that you're excited or nervous?
I'm excited. Everybody, really. We tried to get, like, going back to it, we try to get all the artists that you can take something from each one. And we have Fibs, which is a phenomenal, like, just the fact that he can just make shit just look so seamlessly and flow with the body is just, it's crazy. And I don't know. Let me go through each one, or
whatever. Anyone, if you want to share anything for anyone listening that doesn't know about it, if they want to learn a little bit more. Yeah,
we have Mesa. She does she documents her life and travel, and then like tattoos with it, and it's amazing. And we have Daria. Her approach to just like color realism, but like it's a little bit like very stylized. It's really cool. And then Haifia, which is Heather, she does large scale like cover up work and like helping clients kind of like regain themselves after like experiences and stuff. So it should be kind of presentable, which is pretty cool.
That's very cool. Those are very unique topics to touch on.
And that's the thing too. We try to find everybody that's different, like, because we want people to take something that you might not think that you can apply to your work and take it to your work. Yeah. And we have Another Year of Disaster. His unique. His name's Nemo, but his work is very, very unique, very bold and large. And I think he got to a point in his career that like his artistic evolution got him to where he's at, making that unique work. And he's going to kind of go over like how he became what it is.
Cool.
We have Kevin Leroy. He's amazing guy, very handsome too. But
just a side note, very good looking guy.
He's a beautiful human being. But he's going over like just like color saturation, darker skin tones, kind of like how you can work with different skin tones, which I think everybody needs to learn how to do.
Yeah, 100%. That is definitely a challenge early on in tattooing, especially.
I'm presenting myself, and I'm doing the merch and brand and stuff. And then,
okay, cool.
My buddy David, he works with me too, David Brohl. He's going to do kind of some workshops of like creative burnout, how to overcome like creative blocks and stuff as well. So like we're trying to do all kinds of different things.
I mean, that sounds like a massively valuable opportunity for any tattoo artist that is either at a point in their career where maybe they're feeling burnt out, or maybe they've just been doing it for a while and they want to learn what keeps it fresh and new. And then obviously anyone who's new, like to have that opportunity to be in the same room as these tattoo artists that are sharing it, I don't think there's a better investment you can make as a tattoo artist. Yeah,
it really is, because it's like there's not a lot of these opportunities come up, and there's a few of them. They're all awesome, and I just want to contribute to it as well, because I was in a position, or I know everybody's been in a position. They're like, what can I do to be better? What can I do to push my career further? And that's what it is. Instead of sitting there and being like, this sucks, Instagram sucks, this sucks. I mean, like, you have to have tools. You got to push yourself to understand like where to go and where to be at.
I always felt like one of the coolest parts of tattooing is that there's just so much more to learn always. And the more you know, the more you realize you still have to learn. But we're not always able to surround ourselves with other tattoo artists that have that knowledge, that experience. And if they do, they're not always very open with sharing that knowledge and experience. But at the Sessions Tattoo Education Expo, that is exactly the purpose, is to cram 10, 20, 30 years of tattoo knowledge, wisdom, those golden nuggets into 2 days. So what if you could speed up that process, that those lessons that might take you 10 plus years to learn, you could learn in a matter of hours? That is why the Sessions Tattoo Education Expo exists. And there is a unique lineup of tattooers, some of the most incredible and very, I'd say from other expos I've been to, there's like a really unique flavor to the tattoo artists that are there. So you're going to get some education that you really can't find anywhere else. Squire is going to be teaching, and I will be teaching there. So if you're interested in learning the art and the business of tattooing and really elevating your skill set in a short period of time, you can use this promo code RyanRoi50 to knock $50 off of the price. There is a link down below for anyone that is that type of tattooer that is hungry to level up. Go check it out. I hope to see you there. What do you think of, I mean, obviously it started out with like DVDs, learning, from Guy Atchison was making...
I had the Guy Atchison DVDs. I had the tattoo in A to Z. I mean...
Joshua Carlton had some. There was a bunch of good ones. Yeah. What do you think about, first of all, I think there's something that you cannot recreate about being in person. There's an energy about being there. There's an intention that you bring because you're in a seat. If you're at home watching online, like you can pause and go make some popcorn or check Instagram, but there's something you cannot replicate But what is your opinion, or do you have any thoughts on like continuing education online for tattoo artists?
I mean, if it worked the same way, like if you can take a course that's like going over certain things, like I don't have any thoughts. I think it's great. I think there should be so many options out there for people. I don't know if I feel like the same thing as tattooing at your house. Like if you're going to learn how to do it, you're going to find a way to do it.
Yeah.
So, and
yeah, if you're hungry enough, and that's why I've said to people is like, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the thing you can't buy on Amazon and the thing you can't teach in an apprenticeship is grit.
Yeah.
Is that ability to stick with it when it looks like nothing's going the way you want it to. And I think every tattooer has had multiple points in their career where you're just highly doubting yourself and the direction you're going in and wondering, is this actually going to work out? Should I just get a normal job? I mean, I've definitely had that thought so many times throughout my tattoo.
I mean, I still think about that. I mean, like
yeah?
every day.
You're like, dude, I'm going back to folding boxes. Just like,
I mean, you know, you go
stressful.
You go get groceries and you're seeing the guy bag and you're like, man, no, that'd be nice just to bag all day and not worry about anything. Like, that'd be great. Like, I don't got to go home and work. Because, I mean, like, tattooing's work. I mean, like, you wake up until you go to sleep. It's always constant work. And, like, if you care about what you do, I mean, no matter what you do is going to be the same way. So, like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Is there anything you're personally excited about in your tattoo career right now after 24 years? Like, what keeps you excited? You've done how many peony tattoos? You've done how many skull tattoos? Like,
I mean, I get tattooed. I mean, I get excited to tattoo every day. I mean, even if it's the same flower or same of this, like, I just think about how I can approach it differently and make it different. I mean, beginning of the year is always excitement just because it started to travel again. So, like, we have conventions every month until, like, middle of the year. So it's kind of like what new designs I can get out to sell, what kind of new merch I can get out. And, I mean, sessions has taken up a lot of my time as well lately. So just trying to get that branded and have an awesome experience for everybody. Like, I mean, I got a lot of stuff coming up that I'm pretty stoked about.
Cool. You mean in terms of like tattoo? How far out booked, if someone wants to get tattooed by you, how far out do you book?
Usually about 6 months. Yeah. And
okay.
Yeah. And that's, 4 days a week. And usually it's not that I stay booked out 6 months. It's like continue to work. So like I'll book, somebody has a large sleeve, it books like, a certain amount of time. So, yeah.
Do you book, when you have a large sleeve, do you book all of their appointments?
Usually the first couple I do.
The first couple, yeah.
And after that as well, once I get my travel schedule and stuff going.
Okay. Do you use any kind of scheduling software for your appointments?
I don't. I just
wow.
Yeah.
Squire.
For booking, I do. Like, I have a whole system. Like, I use a mailing list when I start booking people. So,
okay.
Like, I have, like, I book at a certain amount of time. So when I'm ready to book, I'll send an email out and be like, my book's open next week, blah, blah, blah. And then I send that out, and they can only book via my mailing list pretty much. I send that out to people, and then my books are open for about a week or so. I comb through the submissions. I do the submissions of like, I always do a list of stuff that I like to do first, or like ideas. So like I try to change it every time. Different themes. This is the same thing, because like if I could, book flowers all day, it's bread and butter, but like it's like mowing grass. This is going to get kind of consistent and stuff. So I try to like think of stuff that I can approach but be uncomfortable with. So I have a list of that, and that's always top priority in booking.
Sure.
I try to book those first, and then like any submissions people have, I love hearing people's ideas. I'm not picky, so
totally.
And then I have a couple projects that I do. Like I try to get like a whole list of, like, I had a tarot card project, and like I have vases stuff, and I book those, and then I comb through it, make sure everything's cool, and then I reply back to it and book it out at that time. So like even if it's not scheduling software, like I usually do it once at a time. That's why. Like If I had my books open at a longer time and people kind of like that, I probably would look into something that would be more.
I only like scheduling software because it's basically like a CRM, a client relationship manager, and it's very easy to organize and be able to. I mean, if your email list is keeping you booked out, great. But even still, just to have all the client data stored easily and automatically in one place. Yeah. I just feel every tattoo artist should have.
I like that.
It's also really easy for your clients to schedule because you can control the availability and kind of that way you don't have to deal with the back and forth email situation.
I mean, I'm always open to have stuff easier in my life.
Like you could give a client a package of appointments. So like let's say they book a sleeve, and then you give them a link, and that link allows them to book 5 appointments.
Okay.
And then you just say, hey, just book your next 5 appointments, keep them a month apart or whatever you want to say. And then they can go in and you don't have to be like, well, when are you available? What days works for you? And It will just show them what is available in your schedule. And you can even say, like, this is actually one of my favorite things. So I use Acuity scheduling, and I would do a good amount of large projects, but I also love doing just little bangers and jammers. And so I would set it up to say, all right, I will only take 2 new big projects per week, meaning I have to draw for it. So like a full sleeve or a back piece. Once those are booked in that week, I have other availability, but it won't allow a new big one. It will allow a continuing project where I don't need to draw to book. And so I could be very, I could dial it in perfectly, just get them real tight. Yeah. I could dial it in perfectly, and that just saved me so much time. And my clients really loved it because it was just very clean and professional. Yeah.
Yeah, just because, people still reach out to me like, hey, I need to book my next appointment when you're free. And then, even though you're busy doing something, I can't get back to him right away or whatnot. So I feel like...
You have an assistant?
Yeah, I do have an assistant. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. Are you noticing fewer submissions, or are you getting more submissions than ever? I'm curious.
Definitely fewer submissions, but I think people are like, on my website, it goes about how I book my FAQ. So I get them to... I want clients to be more on my mailing list versus sending me a form for tattooing. Just because if they're on my mailing list, they're definitely interested in getting tattooed, and they're going to be there, and I can give them updates and stuff like that. My form does have if you want to be a part of my mailing list, hit yes or no, and it automatically signs them up for it as well.
Right.
But yeah, definitely. I still get a few submissions a week, but I definitely get subscribers. I push my subscriber list more than my submission form. So
sure. I was just curious, I've now talked to so many tattooers that are wildly talented, tattooers that have been booked out 6 months to a year, and just in the changing in the market, I'm curious if you've been noticed or been affected by, or maybe have artists at your shop. There have been artists that have told me that they used to book out 6 months or a year or more, and now they're booked out a week max, and they have availability tomorrow. I don't know if you've if that wind has blown your way or not so much.
I definitely noticed less people emailing me, for sure. I have noticed that. I don't post as much as I used to. I think I posted 3 times last year on Instagram as well. And every time
3 times on Instagram the whole year?
Probably 4 times. There might have been one tattoo that I'd done already a year before. So
wow. Okay. Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like, I take a picture of something and I see it and it looks the same to me, and it looks like everything else I've done. And consistency is key, but at the same time, I'm like, I want to push myself more, and I'm trying to think of ways I can start this advertising different work, and not different work, but this I just want to make it look different, and I don't want to be consistent. So
yeah, that's at the end of the day, I tell tattooers, look, if it's working for you, it's working for you. Great.
Yeah.
Your focus, your process is get on my mailing list, and then you'll nurture them through there. They'll see your emails, and that little reminder, oh, he's booking again, should I do it this time? I don't know. And then eventually, when they're ready to pull the trigger, they do, and that's working well for you. And you don't need to post on Instagram. I think a lot of tattooers hearing that are super jealous right now, because Instagram has definitely been the marketing tool that a lot of people have to use.
A lot of tattooers blew up through Instagram, and it's crazy just to see where it's at now. People are still blowing up on Instagram. It's just a different strategy than it was 5-6 years ago. And
I heard someone talking, because you're in Tampa, Florida, right?
Yep.
I heard someone talking about Florida. Everywhere's getting more, but a lot of artists from South America or Mexico are coming to Florida, and they're crazy talented.
Yeah,
but they're charging fewer prices. Is that something you've noticed at all?
I haven't heard that at all.
Okay. I wasn't sure. It was
maybe more down south, but I have it in our area.
Right.
I was for sessions, I want community pretty much. So I reached out to a lot of our local shops, and I was like, hey, we're having sessions in Tampa. We're going to have artists in the area, and we can't host a lot of guest artists. I would love to have guest artists recommended to work while they're here as well. Why not? I know you're spending a couple of days doing education stuff. You're going to be pumped to tattoo afterwards. Why not go guest us up? So I reached out to a lot of shops, and like even just doing that, like searching shops in the area, like besides my friend shops to reach out to, like there's just so many that I even know about. And I'm like, man, like there's a lot of good shops around here to even pay attention to. So I don't pay attention to much about that kind of stuff. So
for sure. Well, man, I just love getting to hear about your career and what you're up to now. Any other words of wisdom or anything you want to share with tattooers? I feel like a lot of people, including myself, just look up to you, and I
appreciate it. I mean, it's all smoke and mirrors, but
what do you mean by that? You're just being humble. You're just being humble.
No.
But the truth is, you've probably put in more fucking hours, more grit, more time, more determination and focus than a lot of people. I have to assume. I don't want to believe that it's just natural talent. You just pull it out of your ass that way.
It's a lot of work. It really is. And I'm definitely fortunate. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe my brain thinks differently to some people. I don't know. But like, I love to share advice and help people out as well. On top of that, like, and that's the biggest thing. I like to share things. I like to give.
Do you feel like you grow, you learn when you are sharing with others?
I do. I feel like, because it's like, I don't know. It's just a positive feeling. I like the positive feelings.
Yeah. Have you ever had an apprentice?
Had a few apprentices. Remember at
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, and they threw out your tattoo machine. Yes. That's right. They threw out your Dan Cuban.
Yeah.
That's right.
But Jessica and a couple other apprentices too, and I mean, they all been great. So.
And did they go on to work for you or work with you?
At the time, like we had, like you said, at the first shop we had a few apprentices, but it was mostly a shop apprentice. Jessica was like my apprentice. She was a shop apprentice, but mostly like I taught her how to do stuff. So
yeah.
But yeah, she worked with us for a little while, and then as we shut the shop down, she left and went to a different studio while we were in limbo, opening our new studio.
Sure. So, yeah. I've had 3 apprentices, and I just really felt like when I had to sit down and explain what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, it made me think about why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I'm actually doing and processing. It was almost like my brain had to store that information newly and differently. Yeah. And I felt like it improved my tattooing tremendously. Like in my career, that was a big turning point for me, was when I started to take someone on under my wing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely feel the same way too. So,
yeah. Cool, man. Well, I look forward to at least coming to check out sessions. I know we're talking about I might do a little panel or something like that. I'm excited to come and chat and talk business. And
I mean, the whole reason I want to do is have everybody there so I can learn from them. So that's my selfish intentions.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just so that in case anyone doesn't follow you or hasn't known about you, your Instagram is, what is it again?
Squire Strahan. So
Squire Strahan. We'll throw details. Your shop is Heart Tattoo and
Heart TPA. Yep.
Heart. What is it?
TPA.
TPA.
Yeah.
Heart TPA.
Yeah.
And Sessions EDU. You've done the first one. You're about to do the second one. That's at the end of February. So anyone that's looking to level themselves up, surround themselves with a bunch of wildly talented tattooers, definitely check that out. We'll include a bunch of link info in the caption. So
we're stoked, man.
Dope. Squire, thanks again.
Appreciate it.
All right, if you found this episode helpful, one of the best ways for you to help other artists is to share this episode. Leave a review and subscribe. It helps other people find my channel, and you never know what a difference it might make for someone else. Plus, I will forever be grateful for your support, so I just want to say thank you and have a great rest of your day.